Judge sentences Corrie Richens to life in prison for husband's murder. A mother who published a children's book about grief after the sudden death of her husband was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after being convicted of her murder. A jury in March found that Corrie Richens of Utah killed her husband in 2022 by poisoning him with a fentanyl-laced drink. Corrie Richens will spend the remainder of her life behind bars after being convicted of killing her husband by poisoning, a Utah judge ruled on Wednesday. The sentence was the harshest available to 3rd District Judge Richard Mrazek, following Richens' conviction for aggravated murder and related charges tied to the 2022 fentanyl overdose death of her husband. The judge noted she had attempted to poison Eric on 2 separate occasions before his death, saying the punishment was fully justified. Judge Mrazek described Corrie as too dangerous to ever be free. On Wednesday, Eric's relatives emotionally urged the court to impose the maximum penalty, describing the ongoing grief and trauma since his death. "This is not a case where rehabilitation should even be considered," Eric's sister, Katie Richens Benson, said. "Don't reduce my brother's life to something that results in only 25 years in prison." Another sister, Amy Richens, called for a life without parole sentence, saying it would bring closure for the couple's children, who were all under 10 when their father was killed. "A sentence with parole eligibility does not end this," she said. "It keeps the suffering going." Trent Nelson, the Salt Lake Tribune, Corrie Richens, seated with her attorneys, addressed the court during her sentencing at 3rd District Court in Park City on Wednesday, May 13, 2026. Before sentencing, Corrie Richens delivered an extended statement in court, her first public remarks since she was charged. Her lawyer, Catherine Nestor, said Richens continues to maintain her innocence and plans to appeal. "We fully believe she is innocent," Nestor said. The 36-year-old spent much of her 30-minute statement speaking directly to her sons, offering advice about life, relationships, and family unity. "Be like your dad," she said through tears. Some members of Richens' family submitted letters asking the court for leniency, describing her as a devoted mother who organized family events and vacations. In March, a jury deliberated for 3 hours before finding her guilty of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, 2 counts of insurance fraud, and 1 count of forgery. She did not take the stand in her defense. Alongside the life sentence for murder, the judge also imposed a 5-year to life sentence for attempted murder, 1 to 15-year terms for each insurance fraud conviction, and up to 5 years for forgery. All sentences will run consecutively. While delivering the sentence, Judge Mrazek also reflected on how the decision might affect the couple's sons in the future, weighing whether they would prefer finality or the possibility of seeking parole for their mother. He said his concern came from a genuine place of care and humility about the court's limits in predicting how this case will unfold over time. Prosecutors argued that Corrie had motive, means including an alleged affair and financial struggles in her real estate business, and opportunity to kill her husband at their Summit County home. Eric was 39 when he died. She was charged in May 2023, months after publishing a children's book about grief. Prosecutors allege she poisoned Eric by mixing fentanyl into a Moscow Mule cocktail and also attempted to poison him weeks earlier with a fentanyl-laced sandwich. After that earlier incident, Eric reportedly became suspicious and confided in a friend that he believed his wife was trying to kill him. Eric's family described him in court as a loving father and coach who deeply cared for his children and community sports teams. His father, Gene Richens, said even years after his death, his team still honor him by chanting, "1, 2, 3, Eric." Therapists for the couple's sons also read statements in court on their behalf. The children said they wanted their mother to remain in prison, with one stating he had been forced into a parental role for his siblings. "I will not feel safe if you are released," he said, adding she never apologized for what happened.